The next time someone says they hate HOAs or HOAs should be illegal, look at Tunnel Girl. Look at someone drilling a mine shaft 22 feet below their house when they're surrounded by other houses.
Yeah.
I mean, what is that going to do to the integrity of these 3 to 4 to 5 houses that are nearby? Like, if this house came on the market, Shawn, the ones I'm pointing to, the ones right next to the property, and you have the knowledge that there's an unpermitted mine shaft next to the house, what are you telling your clients when you're walking through these neighbors' basements? How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of the Shawn and Matt Show. My name is Matt, that is Shawn, and welcome to our show. Shawn, in today's episode, we're going to do a recap episode. You know, it's weird. We didn't record last week for the holidays. It's good to see you.
Great to see you too, buddy.
And, you know, a lot has happened in the past 2 weeks.
Yes.
And, you know, we had the holidays, so why don't we just start with this? Because I think we both had holiday stories involving real estate.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll start with mine first. You know, I had a lovely New Year's. By the way, I'm way over the open bar, the all-you-can-drink, the champagne toast. I was thinking back 10 years ago, I was actually in Las Vegas at a concert doing all the things, right? I was 23 10 years ago, and I thought, hey, that was the time to do it. I checked the box. I had a great time. I don't know how we afforded anything. We stayed at Treasure Island, so apparently we couldn't afford anything if you're staying at TI. But now, if I'm in bed by 10 o'clock and sober, that's a win for me.
Yeah.
So with that being said, you know, the building did a little event, so I stopped down there. But right before I go out downstairs, you know, with the 2 pizzas I got from Wise Guys Pizza, I have this deal going on, Shawn, and it's a condo. And on Thursday, keep in mind, Sunday is New Year's Eve. On Thursday, we deliver the condo docs, meaning that the condo doc expires, the review period expires on Sunday at, some would say, midnight. So that's New Year's Eve at midnight. And on Saturday, the buyer's agent reaches out with all these questions. Hey, why isn't the management office open? When can we talk to them? Like, it's a holiday weekend. It's not going to be open. Yeah. You can talk to them on Tuesday, you know, after the expiration period expires. And she's like, well, we need answers, so we're going to send you over an extension, right? A condo doc review extension. I get the extension as I'm walking out the door for a New Year's Eve holiday party. Now, I don't necessarily say this to complain. This is what I signed up for. I say it just because it's inconvenient. And if I'm delivering the documents on Thursday, you have Friday to reach out to the management office, as opposed to Saturday and Sunday evening. My client's in the West Coast. I have to call her on New Year's Eve. You think she wants to sign an extension? No
way.
She doesn't want to sign it. Eventually, you know, she tells him to go pound sand, so that's what we say. We got, you know, almost answers. We got probably answers. We got, I think, answers. Those were good enough for that buyer. I got a text at 10:22. I'm already in bed. I'm asleep. I don't see the text in the morning saying, hey, we're going to move forward. I say, great, thanks. But, you know, in the future, I'm trying to think back of like what I could have done differently. I think I should have understood that the agent's a little bit newer, and I should have been more assertive to say, if you have any questions, reach out to management directly, because she's asking me all these questions about the reserve. Like, my answer is going to be, I don't know. I will copy and paste your questions and send them directly to the management office, and then make sure that they understand that the office is closed on the weekend. So we're still going to proceed to closing, and that was my New Year's.
Yeah,
how was
great,
your holidays? Did you have any real estate transactions happen over the holidays?
You know, one thing I want to say about that, maybe in the future what we do to preempt this is say, hey, here is the contact information for the management company. We don't always have that, but like, if you've ever dealt with management companies, it's such a pain. And like, some are good, some are bad, and they all take their dear old time to get back to you. But, you know, maybe having that contact information in the email that we send over to them to say, hey, here are your condo documents. And by the way, here is the contact information for the person that you need to contact so that you can get the right answers to your questions. Because we're real estate agents. We're not reviewing all of these documents in detail to know all of the information that you're going to need. But, you know, that's unfortunate, Matt. It was screwing with your New Year's Eve. And that's what a lot of people don't understand about real estate. And I will say, and I'm going to go back to this one video that I did that was my most watched video of the year. It has over 160,000 views, and that is why agents get paid and deserve it, right? And this is one of the reasons, and this is what people don't understand. And yes, Matt, you said you signed up for it, but this is one of the reasons when people say, oh, you make so much money. Do we make so much money? Do you know what the splits are? And do you know what we go through on a day-to-day basis? And I was equating this to the fact that, like, and this is maybe a little bit extreme, but like an EMT, right? If an EMT gets a call, they've got to go save somebody's life, right? If a real estate agent gets a call, we got to go save a deal, and we got to go save our clients from something. And we cannot say, I'll put it off till tomorrow. It can't happen because we have deadlines, and those deadlines are in stone. And if we don't get it done, our clients could lose money, they could lose a deal, and they could lose a lot more. So that's why it's so important for us to be on time and doing business at all times. So my Christmas story is that, the Christmas week is a really tough week to list a property. And my advice was always, I don't think we should list during Christmas because, people are busy. They're partying, they're getting presents, they're, doing so many different things. They're probably not focused on real estate. And so if we put something on the market the week of Christmas, do an open house, Saturday, Christmas Eve is Sunday. I don't know how much action we're going to get. I don't think it's the best week to do it. Maybe we should wait. But you know what? When your clients say, you know what, we want to put it on the market, well, you better put it on the market, right? So we ended up putting a house on the market. I think I put it on a little bit early. So like I had it coming soon for a little bit of time. That's the strategy because I knew we were coming on Christmas week. I put it coming soon with just one picture until I could get it staged and ready. And then I took all the pictures. Once I had all the pictures, we went active. It went active on Thursday, and we had an open house on Saturday with Christmas Sunday. Now, typically what I do is I have a deadline of offers. If I think I'm going to give multiple contracts, I typically do that on Tuesday. But because Monday was Christmas, I didn't want to do it Tuesday because I didn't feel like that gave people enough time. So what I did was extended that to Wednesday.
So you did a Christmas Eve day open house.
Christmas Eve day. No,
like
the Eve day.
Christmas Eve day.
Yeah, so Saturday,
Okay.
Christmas Eve Sunday. I didn't want to do an open house on Sunday. I felt like people, this is Christmas Eve. People don't want to be doing anything on Christmas Eve. So Miguel actually did the open house for us on Saturday, and the traffic was amazing, really good. And you learn every time you do real estate, right? I had it coming soon for a week. I had 49 showings.
49.
49 showings.
The week of Christmas.
The week of Christmas. Now that is different. That shows you something. That tells you that there is a lack of inventory. Now where this house is located is in Los Island.
Well, give me a price point.
$840,000.
That's a good price
It's a
point.
really good price point. It's in Los Island. It's a contemporary home, just over that Loudoun border. And the thing is, there was no inventory in Los Island for a long time, no good inventory. And so I think there was a pent up demand. So to get 49 showings, and I ended up getting 5 offers over Christmas. Now the question is, could we have gotten more offers if we would have waited? Could we have gotten a higher price if we would have? I don't know, maybe. But I was really surprised at the fact that we did get the amount of traffic that we did on Christmas week and 5 offers afterwards. Now, here relates back to my video that I said, this is the reason agents get paid. So I put a deadline of Wednesday at 1:00. Not knowing, I knew I was going to Pittsburgh to see my family, but not knowing that my brother was going to have a party on Wednesday. Right? That was the party
Wednesday.
of the Battle Christmas.
The 27th?
The 27th.
He's having a Christmas party on the 27th.
Yeah, because, I mean...
I wouldn't expect that either.
You wouldn't expect it, right? So, but when you have family coming in, my sister literally flew in the night before and she left that day, right? So I had limited time to be with everybody. But here's the problem. I had contracts due at 1:00. So I'm like, oh no. All right. So I'm sitting at my parents' house and I'm compiling contracts in the morning.
Are you using your family's PC from like
No,
1998 like in the basement?
I always, no matter where I go, I always travel with my laptop.
Windows
no
Vista.
Yeah. Like, my dad actually still
Fax
has
me
like
the offer.
these super old computers downstairs.
Fax me the offer to my parents' basement.
Can you guys know how to fax anymore? So anyways, I mean, long story, I'll try to keep this short, but I'm sitting there doing work on Wednesday when it's Battle Christmas that afternoon at my brother's house. Then I'm like, hey, Kristen, my wife, I'm like, it's a half-hour drive. I'm like, can you drive? You drive. I'm calling the whole half hour. I'm working on my computer and calling agents while I'm on the drive over there. Then I get there. I get a little bit of a break. Contracts come in. And then I'm compiling more and I'm going through and I'm like, all right, luckily I was able to get things done and send it to my clients and be like, all right, which one do you want to choose? I think you should go for this one for this reason. This could also win, whatever. We ended up choosing an offer, but I had to get that ratified because you don't want people waiting. So I'm literally in my brother's basement downstairs working while everybody else is partying and having fun. And I got the contract ratified. Could I have waited? Yeah, I could have. But when it's on your mind, it's going to ruin the whole party the whole time, right? I have to get things done when it's needed. And not only that, you're going to have 5 agents calling you. Hey, you said 1 o'clock. When am I going to have, So yes, there are expectations that you can manage, but there are also things that come up that you never know are going to happen. And they can ruin deals or ruin family life all the time. And I'm thankful for my job. I love my job. But it is taxing sometimes and it does dig into that personal space.
And it's annoying to have those deadlines where you have to wait so long, whether it's, hey, deadline at 1 p.m., you don't find out to the next day.
Yeah.
Or, property comes on the market Thursday and it's like, oh yeah, the deadline is next Sunday or something like that, where you're just like sitting around on your hands waiting.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. And that's what people have to understand when you're telling them, hey, this is how long we should show the property and then we should do a deadline. A lot of people are like, oh, can we just show it for 2 weeks and then like have a deadline in like 2 weeks? I'm like, no, like the action is that first weekend. We want as much action as we can during that. If we held off, you're going to probably lose some others with new listings coming on the market. You got to strike when the iron's hot, right? So, I mean, that's the main thing. That was my Christmas. We did end up going to Pittsburgh. We had a great time, got home, celebrated New Year's Eve in the house. And I actually went out with my daughter at midnight, went outside, lit some sparklers with the neighbors, had a little fun. 2-year-old Bodie was fast asleep.
Your daughter made it to midnight. Has she made it to midnight before?
She has. She didn't last year. She fell asleep, but she has in the past, I think, twice. Yeah. So she was super excited to get there. You remember when you were young, you're like,
of course.
I made it to midnight,
of
right?
Of course.
But it's funny how times change, right? I used to be the FOMO guy. Like, I could not go out for New Year's. I was like, even in my late 30s, I was like, I gotta go. Thank God those days are over. I love sitting at home, being sober, having a drink or two, and waking up the next morning feeling fine.
Awesome. So definitely eventful holiday seasons, both personal and real estate wise. Well, Shawn, there's 2 stories that are kind of taking over the Northern Virginia headlines, and we're going to touch on both of them.
All right.
The first one is Tunnel Girl, TikTok's Tunnel Girl. Article from WUSA 9. TikTok Tunnel Girl told to stop building tunnel under her Northern Virginia home. What a headline.
The fact that this is local is insane, right? I mean, the fact that it's happening is insane, but yes.
So there was a rumor that was spreading that this lady was local. And so I checked out a couple of her videos a couple of weeks ago and I was like, wow, this is insane. And I was like looking in the background, trying to figure out where this was. And then apparently it broke last week that she's actually in Herndon, right? So she's in Fairfax County. And let me bring people up to speed where if you're like, TikTok, Tunnel Girl, I'm lost. So since 2022, not too long ago, a Northern Virginia woman has been digging under her home and documenting the process for her more than 500,000 TikTok followers. Some of her most popular videos have millions of views. Think like 5, 6, 7 million views. She calls herself, I believe it's Kala, the science girl, but she's better known in the social media world as Tunnel Girl. Her earliest video posted October 23rd, 2022. She talks about how she decides on how to embark on a new and complex project. And what she's doing is she was originally planning to construct a storm shelter off the side of her basement. Now think about that, a storm shelter for those Northern Virginia storms where there's a dusting of snow and a mild hurricane every couple of years. So originally a storm shelter. Now it's turned into a tunnel that has gone down 22 feet below the surface of her house. Like built, there's a basement built on slab and then 22 feet below the basement, however you want to interpret that. She's documented a fire that broke out in her tunnel. And in her most recent video, she's been shut down by the town. And what she did was she filmed a video, and she got voice actors to reenact how the town of Herndon came to her property and shut her down and gave her a stop work order. So, Shawn, there's a lot to go off here. I'm interested to know your thoughts on Tunnel Girl.
Well, first of all right, you were talking about she was building a storm shelter.
Storm shelter.
I think the proper term for this is a fallout shelter, a nuclear blast shelter. That's probably she beat Zuckerberg to the punch there, because if you've heard, Zuckerberg is actually doing the same thing. And when I was in Pittsburgh, there's actually a house in Pittsburgh that has an old bomb shelter. So maybe that's really her thing. But in watching this video, this girl is actually really talented and knows what she's doing. I mean, like, I'll say that she knows more than most about how to do this stuff. Like, she's got vents coming up. She's using carts to drills to drill out the wall, taking that, an elevator to hoist 1,000 pounds of rock up. I mean, she planned this thing out, and she had to have some sort of background. Now, do you know, did she have some sort of background in this, or was this just a crazy obsession?
She appears to be all self-taught. She's been crowdsourcing things to do from her TikTok comments. People are saying, hey, you should try doing this. And she's literally doing physics experiments in this tunnel. And, she's pulling out thousands of pounds of rock and limestone and concrete and dropping them into dumpsters. I mean, imagine the noise that creates. You're the neighbor, and for over a year, she's doing this.
Yeah, and she's like, here's a little limestone. I'm gonna put this. It's like, it's probably on the verge of insanity. But I was reading this article about this, and the neighbors were saying, yeah, I was hearing some blasts here and there, and I was wondering what was going on. And then I started seeing construction, but no one really knew what was going on. No one tied it together that it was this girl doing it in Herndon, not far from here. That's completely crazy.
So I also read somewhere that apparently she put on an addition herself to the house, a 4-story addition.
Oh my
Now,
gosh.
Shawn and I are not in the business of doxing people's personal addresses, but if you're watching on YouTube, we have her house pulled up. We're not going to tell you the address, but Shawn, look at this house right here.
Wow.
So you have the house right in the front, and then you have this ridiculous addition that looks nothing like the house. I mean, the roof is like going the complete opposite way. It almost looks like a tower there in the back of the house, and then you can almost see where she's storing things in the back of her property. So clearly this is a DIYer. People are wondering how she's affording it. You can see her Tesla that she parks in the driveway there. She's clearly very skilled. Are you going to say you sold a house on this street?
No, but the crazier thing about this is that it looks like she's located on a pipe stem, right? So she's completely surrounded by houses.
Right.
It's not like she's in this area. Look at that lot.
Look how close the house is.
Look how that lot actually encroaches on her property.
So some people have said, this is what some people are saying, not me, is that this area of Herndon is where a lot of first-generation immigrants live who've come to this country, and maybe they're a little scared to tell the authorities what has been happening. Because if you can imagine a dumpster, in the driveway or in the side yard, I mean, you could almost high five you could certainly throw a tennis ball to 5 or 6 of your neighbors right here.
Yeah, that's insane. The fact that she's basically house locked. She's got a little pipe stem that reaches in, and she's surrounded by houses. That makes it even more crazy.
Like, imagine if you're this house right here.
I mean,
right
constant.
next to him.
I'm telling you, your house vibrates. My house vibrates when there are certain things. Like, I live decently close to Washington Boulevard. I'm like two houses off, and when a big truck slams over something, you can feel a little bit of vibration in your house. So if somebody's digging under there, and honestly, a lot of people in along the metro line, in through like Westover and stuff, they're like, is your house vibrating? Like I saw this on Nextdoor. So those little things cause vibration. Now, if somebody's doing blasts and drilling rock that is connected to your rock underneath your house, you're definitely going to feel that. I don't know, man. All right, so going back to the addition, right?
The 4-story addition that she did herself.
I mean, it looks pretty solid, but it looks very strange. And I wonder, I mean, you can go into the code to see if she has actually, into the county, to see if she's actually pulled permits for this. Is it permitted? That's something that we're going to have to look into. I don't know. There are definitely people that have done this in the past, but not to this degree, right? In the past, sure, they did it. But nowadays, I don't know if you can get around
So
that.
speaking of permits, she mentioned permits in the video where it said she got shut down. And she said, oh, well, the permits should be easy to get. And once I get them, then I can continue this project. They're not going to be easy to get. You got to have plans. You got to have a layout. You need to show, underneath all this concrete that you've been laying, the footings and all sorts of structural integrity that you need that the town needs. This is going to be like incredible. I'm thinking about resale value. She said in her first video.
I think it just went up because it's Tunnel Girl's house, man. She's got 500.
Yeah. It's like, would you buy Tunnel Girl's house?
No, but you know what I would do is like, hey, can we have a tour? Like, let us have a tour of it.
But would you want to go in that tunnel? Dude, this is how people die. There was someone in Bethesda that was also as unique as this lady who was building tunnels, and someone working on the tunnel, I think they forced them to work. Is kind of a sad story. A fire broke out and that person died in the tunnel in Bethesda in 2017.
It's crazy. It's crazy. I'm surprised. I would be surprised that there is even code to go with this, right? And I was thinking on the way over here, like, is she in an HOA? I can't remember if she was, but could you imagine if she was in an HOA?
No
HOA docs are not going to be like, you cannot build tunnels underneath your property. You cannot build a fallout shelter, or you know what I mean? Like, this brings up so many things that she's skirting around that people have no idea that she was doing. And I wonder what the code is. I actually called one of my clients today because he's a code enforcer of Alexandria City. And I was like, I didn't get to talk to him, but hopefully he can comment on this video later to see what he thinks about this whole situation.
The next time someone says they hate HOAs or HOAs should be illegal, look at Tunnel Girl. Look at someone drilling a mine shaft 22 feet below their house when they're surrounded by other houses.
Yeah.
I mean, what is that going to do to the integrity of these 3 to 4 to 5 houses that are nearby? Like, if this house came on the market, Shawn, I'm pointing to the ones right next to the property, and you have the knowledge that there's an unpermitted mine shaft next to the house, what are you telling your clients when you're walking through these neighbors' basements?
Yeah, beware. I don't know that this is going to do very good for your property value. You have to really think about this. And this, this brings up another issue, another thing that happened to me when I was younger. So growing up in Pittsburgh, I lived in an area where there were mines underneath properties. And a lot of people don't realize that these are there. But in Pittsburgh, there was a lot of mining underneath the ground, and they, closed those entrances and secured the mines, and then they built over them in a lot of instances. And the road behind me was actually over a mine. My road was not. It kind of dug underneath the one behind it. And at one point, those mines fell in, and those properties, the whole street, fell in a couple of feet. There were like houses that had to be redone. So it is scary. Now, they had to go in years later and do fly ash inside this mine and secure it and make sure it was all good, and now it was all fine. But this is the same thing. You're basically mining. Who knows where she's mining to? I'm assuming she's mining into her backyard, but is she under that tree? Sorry, I just spit. You know what I mean? Like, where is she going?
She found water at some point. She's got like a whole pump system and ventilation. It's impressive until, I hate to say it, until she dies, right? It's impressive until there's a fire. It's
impressive until it falls in.
It truly is remarkable, but it's just so asinine to think about that someone could do this like right next to you. Like if you're the neighbor, I mean, I am going to go kicking, shouting, and screaming to the permit office.
Yeah. And it's so crazy that it's an obsession, right? This person has a legit crazy obsession about mines. And like, I think she needs to be stopped personally. But, then you might argue, oh, well, it's her property. She could do what she wants. But, there are county regulations on what you can do with your property. They're there for a reason. They're there for standards so that we're not doing crazy things like this. And, the permitting process is a lot harder than you would think in certain instances or certain jurisdictions. Every county is different. And to get your permits is really tough. I have a house that's still being built across the street from me. Another one right on Washington Boulevard. The one on Washington Boulevard is like completely stalled. And it's probably due to permits. And I was talking to my neighbor the other day. He had to take down one of these big trees, right? And we all know, like, hey, we all love trees. We all love canopy. But some of these trees are super dangerous. And my kids play out in that front area. And there was that storm a couple months ago. I'm saying a tree fell from the tree. It shook my house. My son and I almost went to the basement because it was a legit tornado. And my neighbor was like, I'm in fear of this thing falling down now. And he took the tree down. He called the county a couple of times. But now the county's saying, well, you didn't get approval to take this down. And now it's going to cause soil problems and all this other stuff. So like there are repercussions to whatever you're doing to your property. And to get permits is harder than you think. And getting them retroactively is way harder. Like if you finish a basement without permits and you've got electrical running, you've got to open those walls back up so that the inspector can see all of that stuff and approve it. So I don't know how far this goes, but like she's going cement. She's creating like ceilings of cement and stuff. It's nuts. I'm rooting for her. I hope she gets the permits. I hope she does all good. I hope.
What's the end game? Where's she tunneling to? Is she going to tunnel to the metro? What's she doing?
She said that she has a room now in there that's 25 feet below the surface. So it's 25 feet down. So I'm assuming she's done now and she's created her fallout shelter or her weather shelter. And she's hopefully done and gets her permits.
There any radon gas down there?
Oh, that's a good question, Matt. Like, yes, there could be an abundance of radon. And that's what a lot of people don't understand is radon moves all the time. So just because you have a low reading today doesn't mean you're going to have a low reading tomorrow. I've had to do 2 radon abatements to my own houses. In the past, I didn't think there was going to be radon. I'm like, there's no radon, whatever. I do a radon test later. I'm like, there's radon. Got to do it. So she's now dug down deeper into the earth. Now, it really just depends on what kind of rock is below there, whether there's going to be radon, but she's got a huge, she could be subjecting herself to really high levels of radon. That's a really good point.
In one of her first videos, she puts the hashtag of stupid prizes. Like, the saying, play stupid games, win stupid prizes.
Yeah.
She's going to win a stupid prize, and it's going to come sooner or later. So drop a comment down below. Let us know what you think about Tunnel Girl. And if you've watched any of her videos, because she kind of gives off creepy vibes, but when you see what she's doing, you're like, wait a second. This is actually like pretty impressive.
It's impressive. It really is.
All right, let's move on to our next story. This is also from WUSA 9. Gaming supporters size up the odds of a Northern Virginia casino. Potential locations include Tyson's Corner and Reston. So with casinos popping up on Virginia's southern border, some lawmakers now want to explore whether wealthy Northern Virginia should get in on the action. I love that they say wealthy Northern Virginia. Mm-hmm. So, Shawn, let me break it down for you. State Senator David Marsden, Democrat from Fairfax, is planning to reintroduce legislation that would allow Fairfax County to hold a referendum on building a casino. So right now, you can't have any casinos in Fairfax County, but Fairfax is eligible. They do meet the requirements. A new law came out in 2020, outlined requirements. Fairfax is eligible, but the people need to vote on it to change the law. This was introduced last year. It went nowhere, but now there are rumblings that it will be introduced again. Now, originally, the rumblings were around Reston. So think Wheelie Ave, think Metro, think Silver Line, Dulles Airport. Comstock, a big developer in the area, wanted to put it in Reston. And speaking of Reston and HOA, all of Reston is an HOA. And I don't think, when Reston was planned, they envisioned the starlight of the show to be a casino along the Silver Line. So once Reston got wind of that, they said absolutely no. And now the casino folks are pivoting and say, well, wait a second, we actually wanted this in Tyson's. And it's not just going to be a casino, it's going to be entertainment area, convention center, hotel, yada, yada, yada. And so now they're putting it more in the Tyson's corner area spotlight. So they're thinking Silver Line, it'll be a boon to Dulles Airport. It's also going to bring union jobs, and the labor lobby is expected to be on board. So this is all set around, allegedly trying to get more revenue into Virginia, because Marsden said that $150 million is spent at MGM Casino by people that live in Virginia. So they're saying, hey, instead of spending it over here in a different jurisdiction, spend it in Fairfax County so we can help out with schools and housing and all that fun stuff. So, yeah. Shawn, what are your thoughts on a Fairfax on a Tyson's Corner casino?
Yeah, I mean, listen, I'm not a huge casino guy. I like to go to casinos every once in a while. I'm kind of tight with my money, though. Like, I love the idea of it. And when I get there, I'm like, oh, this is going to be fun. And then I'm like, I don't want to put my couple $100 down.
I'll put $10 on a roulette spin.
That's the problem. They're all $25 minimums. You're like, oh man, do I want to? You have to have a lot of money going into the casino, a couple $1,000 to have a good time. And if you're willing to part with that couple $1,000, then okay, but then you could have a good time. But most of the time I'm like, I just don't want to give up my money. But yes, it can be vital to areas. And we've seen what it has done to National Harbor. It created a city. Well, I guess the city was created and then that was put in and that just, enhanced the city area. It brings in a ton of money. One thing that they were arguing, and I read this article, one of the articles very quickly, was that typically in the state of Virginia, there are only 5 areas that are approved right now that can have a casino. So you have to go to the Virginia General Assembly or something like that to get approval, which can be hard. But what surprised me was they typically put casinos in more needy areas, is what I read really quickly. Areas that need the money or poorer areas. And they thought, well, why would we put it in rich, Northern Virginia? But I was thinking, why is that? All right, you're going to have your local poor people go to the casino and hope to win and spend all their dear money to then raise taxes for that area, but they don't have any money anyways, right? So why not put it in a rich area where people are going to spend their money? It can benefit locally, but regionally and statewide as well in a wealthy area, right?
Yeah.
Because people are going to spend more money,
The people that live in Tyson's, they're spending their nights going to the Kennedy Center, not going to MGM.
Correct.
Yeah.
The
people that are going to MGM, they are coming from all walks of life to go to MGM. So if you're putting this in Tyson's Corner, people on the Metro, people are going to come from all corners of the earth to patronize this while the locals, get stuck with casino culture, which is crime, which is degenerative gambling, which is, I read this crime story where in the past year, there have been 2 instances of someone winning a fair amount of money at MGM and then being followed home to Virginia, then being attacked in the driveway.
Yeah, I read that as well.
So you're going to hear a lot about, this is going to attract jobs. This is going to attract revenue. What sort of jobs? Blackjack dealers, bartenders, waitresses.
Yeah, amazing.
That's not the jobs. When I think of Tyson's, I don't think, man, this really needs a casino. Yeah. This is the one thing missing from Tyson's. It's a shiny object, right? Mm-hmm. It's along the same lines of an arena. You know what? This is what we should do. We put a casino in Tyson's. We move the Commanders Stadium to Tyson's. We move the Caps and the Wizards to Tyson's. Let's just move everything to Tyson's.
Yeah.
It sounds good. Tax revenue. No, it would obviously be horrible. We're starting to realize, the public is starting to see that these large glamour projects just aren't beneficial. And the issue is, okay, well, these commercial leases are coming up, the ones that were signed before COVID. They're coming up soon, and that tax base it is going to be floundering. And so where do you have the money to
It's a really good point,
to compensate for that? And so, Senator Marsden, State Senator Marsden is saying, well, hey, we need to come up with the money. This is a great way to create an entertainment district because, Tyson's has the Silver Line. They have Tyson's. They have Galleria. They have the Borough. Now we create an entertainment district and get even more revenue. Like, it sounds good, but why not just cut back on spending? Why not just take a look at the government bottom line and seeing, if there's a surplus and seeing if we can save some money that way?
That's what dumbfounds me about government is they spend so much money. Can you show me one local, state, or national government that doesn't spend beyond their means? Like, who does that? If you were personally doing that, you're going to find yourself in financial trouble. So why do our governments do it? I don't get it. Yeah, start pulling back. Pull back, because you know what? The commercial sector, you brought up a really good point. There's a lot of commercial property that's going to be vacant. They're not going to be pulling in the revenue. There's going to be opportunity there, but there's going to be a lost tax base. I agree with you. I don't think that Tyson's needs a casino. I mean, we can go right down the street to Maryland and go to that casino. And I don't think that's the answer.
How far is it from Tyson's, MGM to Tyson's?
MGM's like 15 miles, maybe?
It's, I would say, like
20 miles? I don't know.
Less than an hour, right? So how close do you need to be to a casino? I think if you're within an hour's drive, which, by the way, go to Maryland Live, right? Go to the Horseshoe.
Yeah.
Go to Baltimore.
Right.
There are casinos around that are nearby. We're talking about taking the metro, taking public transportation to go to a casino. I don't think that's the answer.
I don't either. I think the answer is make Tyson's more walkable and make Tyson's more reasons for people. Why do people want to go certain places? Why is there a destination to go places? It's for eating, drinking, having fun. It's not necessarily gambling. Gambling is like a one-off thing, or you got your gamblers that need to go, right? Like, create something like they did, like Merrifield, like area, right? They created the Mosaic District is really nice. They created something there that is, hey, let's go to Mosaic District. We'll go out to dinner. There's plenty of places there that it's close to Metro. If you create these areas where people want to go to enjoy life and have dinner and go shopping, that is what the attraction is. I think a casino is a flash in the pan, right? I don't think it's the answer for Tyson's or Reston. I'm not a fan of it. I think there's a good one right across the river. Who cares that people are going to spend there? They're going to spend their dining and their shopping dollars in Tyson's, and that's what it's there for. Why do I go to Tyson's now? Look at cars, go shopping at the Tyson's Mall, maybe go out to dinner. But if you created a better walkable place to go out to dinner that's outside, people are going to come. And if you look at Tyson's area, you've got a couple malls, which are great, but then you've got a ton of strip malls that are like strip malls, right? Create something better.
Well, you're definitely not going to like this developer then, because they're looking at one of those car lots to redevelop.
I need my Jeep lot there, man. I go and obsess about Jeeps all the time. I got to go see this.
Well, they might be looking at the Toyota lot, but the heat is on. Patch DC reported that the casino developer hires 6 lobbyists and $529,000 donated to Virginia candidates. Now, for this developer, I think $500,000 is probably a drop in the pan, but our man Marsden, who is pushing this legislation, he got 10 G's from them. If you're a local candidate and you're getting $10,000 from a developer, I mean, you're going to push the bill pretty hard. And my favorite...
can I ask you, do you find anything wrong with that?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Everything.
Exactly.
Everything.
And that's the problem with our government is, like, people can just be paid to have a decision, which is not right. We should do it for the region. Is this going to benefit us? Let's have a vote. Hey, everybody go vote. Vote for this particular instance and see if everybody wants it. Let's just do a preliminary thing, right?
No, that's exactly what they're doing. It's going to be a referendum. So Marsden is introducing a law that would have to have the Fairfax County people vote on whether or not they want a casino.
Okay.
So
perfect. Let the people vote. That's it. Don't let the politicians control the vote or be coerced to do something that maybe not many people don't want. And that's I guess the downside of our government is that people can be paid for campaign contributions and things like that to get them to go on a certain side when maybe it's against their rationale or their true beliefs, which I think is the problem.
So one of the other donations, $100,000 to Luis Lucas for Senate from Chris Daniel Clemente. Chris Daniel Clemente is on the board of supervisors for Comstock, the developer. So casino developer gives state senator in one of these other 4 towns, I think she's in Portsmouth, $100,000. And now that's one of the towns that you can now gamble in.
Yeah,
so,
there it is.
Yeah. Very interesting. Let us know your thoughts. I think I know what your thoughts are going to be, whether or not you like a casino in Tyson's. I can't imagine anyone wanting a casino other than Comstock and apparently David Marsden in Tyson's or Reston.
Yeah.
All right, well, let's move to in or out. Shawn, it's been a while since we've done in or out.
Sweet.
But we're staying in the Commonwealth of Virginia.
I like it.
So we have for sale $535,000, a Japanese-styled cabin in the western part of Virginia. So just west of Monterey, this beautifully designed home with uncommon build quality and details is architecturally fresh in Virginia's landscape. The Zen House, a one-owner custom-built house, also has a one-car garage, separate enclosed wood shelter, and a she shed with its own heat source. For our sake, it could be a he shed. A working apiary, a small orchard, and garden space, a gentle stream, and miles and views for miles. So it is 2 beds, 3 bathrooms, 2,000 square feet, Monterey, Virginia, $535,000. Shawn, are you in or out on the Japanese-inspired cottage?
Oh man, this is a tough one. I mean, it's not my style, but it is kind of cool in style. It would be a fun little getaway. I don't know that I would use it a ton, but I think it's pretty cool. You know, I'm intrigued by this. I don't know if $535,000 is overpriced out there. I'm sure it's probably pretty high, but it's a cool property. It's a neat property. I think I'm going to buy it.
You think you're going to buy it?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, it's just weird enough. Like, it's out of place, right? It's Japanese. I mean, but it's also cool. It's Zen-like. It could give you a good vibe of, you know, relaxation and just the relaxation that you might need. Yeah, I'll buy it. I'm gonna do it.
Well, we got a bidding war because I'm going to buy it too. Yeah, I love it. Yeah. I love a nice house in the mountains. I love the cottage feel. I love the she shed.
Me too.
I love the gardening. What I don't love, it's only on 1.6 acres.
Yeah.
Maybe I can look into buying some more land. I got to have a few more acres. But everything about this is a calming. It's got to be more than a weekend retreat, right? You got to go out there for a whole week. You can't just go out there for a weekend because you're on the West Virginia line. I love the solar panels. I don't fully understand how much, that you can save by using these solar panels, but there's a lot that you could do on this property in an efficient use of the space.
Very tastefully done too. I mean, very clean, nice, good lines, nice porch, deck. I love the she shed. She shed is totally cool.
She shed is cool.
I love it.
We're in on the she shed.
It's small. Like, I'm actually looking to put something like that in my backyard.
Shed?
Yeah, I need a shed, but I also want to use it for storage, but I also want to use it for something fun.
Sounds like
too.
Kristen needs a shed.
Yeah.
She shed.
It's going to be a she's shed. It's going to be my daughter too, like probably a playhouse, right? Like,
well, I think we got the floor plan here somewhere. Maybe you can draw some inspiration. Is it going to be a Japanese-inspired she shed?
Yeah, maybe not. But dude, this is very cool. I dig it. You said something about a stream too.
We haven't quite found the stream.
Yeah,
it might be there somewhere.
I love me some water. I love the nice calming sounds of a stream. So I think this is a good investment. Yeah, I'm digging it.
Okay. We're both in. Cool. Well, let us know your thoughts in the comments below if you're in or out on the Japanese-inspired cottage. Is it a cottage or a cabin? I don't know. Maybe a little both.
Yeah.
All right, well, for Shawn and myself, thank you so much for watching. Until next time, we'll see you then.
Thank you. Take care.